Welcome my brother in community. Today we are going to talk about housing problem. This is the world's housing problem. This is the biggest problem in the world. So I will introduce my working paper, The End of Housing Problem Now. I will introduce it. This is the best policy for housing problem, to solve housing problem. It's the best working paper for community. It will solve many problems in the world, like traffic, water, poverty, many problems the countries facing in the world. Although the housing problem is fake in the world. Why? Because there are a huge number of the vacant apartment in the world, like Egypt. In the statistics in 2010 there are 10 million vacant apartment, and in China in last statistics there are 60 million vacant apartment. If you can see, if you estimate the price or the cost of the building this housing, it's hundreds of trillion pound. So there is no housing problem from financial view. So today we are going to talk about the housing problem, and today we are going to talk the causes or the reasons of the housing problem in the world. And I take Egypt as example of the reasons in Egypt as example for all the reasons in the world. Causes of the housing problem. We'll see the causes of the housing problem, the rule of the worksheet or working paper to solve the housing problem. We can see, first of all, the changing the style of construction. This is the first reason, because in the past this is this kind of construction of housing is old. This is the raw materials. It's a simple tool to build these houses. But here in the modern times and era, this is concrete, use concrete, modern equipment. So it will be expensive to build housing. It needs much money. So the first reason is changing the style of constructions. Housing problem did not appear in the previous areas due to the fact the problem adopted the local unprocessed raw materials as stones, clay, and wood, and used hand tools in construction. But now the people are depending on manufactured materials and modern equipment, which cases an increase in the financial burden on them and the state also. So the construction in recent time, it's need much money. So the real of my richer paper or working paper is that it will give the people who wish to build a free interest loan, so from the housing fund. This is the first reason. Second reason, the basic economic industry, agriculture, and the trade are the main economic sectors. We find the people invest away from the industry due to the presence of risk, but the housing sector is without any risks. And for agriculture, many countries in the world are suffering from shortage of the potable water. You know, the world will suffer from water poverty. So potable water for agriculture, and therefore people cannot rely on agriculture as a good economy, but for self-sufficient only for their need. So some people invested in the real estate sector because it's a safe sector without risk, unjustly taxes, and that sector achieves the profit of up to 300%, as well as that some states consider real estate sector as locomotive of development and room to create imaginary quick progress, and the government can post it. The growth of this sector will create major crises to the future of the country due to lured money from other sectors. So it will peak the invest in the industry and agriculture. So it will be problem in these sectors, and also create a problem in housing itself. So the working paper or research paper will lead to refining the real estate, the real estate investment, and kill it, to refine it and then kill it. Third reason is renting form as unsuitable for humanity. In the world there are two forms of the lease in the world. First of this, fixed rent, or old law, fixed rental value and non-specific term. This is called old law. This law is still in some countries in the world. The shortcomings of this law with the currency depression will weaken the value of the lease logistics, and also the owner is unable to recover the property when he needs it. Second formula is first term, or the civil law. Civil law is applied in many countries. This is a modern formula in the world. Fixed term contract and changing the monetary value when renew the contract or make increase percentage increase every month or every year. It's right in the terms of the religious and legal basis in the first period of this lease. First period is okay, a contract only, but the increase open renewal is void and usury. We'll explain this in next videos, as well as the lack of stability for renewing the lease at the end of each contract. So in this case, the tenants like a bird underselling. But in my working paper, it will suggest a fair rental formula between the tenant and the landlord, which links the rental real estate value, which is called the rental real estate bound. It's a new suggestion. It's a new bound which we'll see it, and they will explain it in the private video. The entry of some real estate investor in decision making locations such as the people assembly. Because it's useful for them to keep the problem as it is, and although they declared shortage in the number of housing units, despite the fact the statistics indicated that the number of the vacant and the closed apartments is always greater than number of formers. For example, in Egypt, since of 1976, there were about 7 million families, while the number of the resident units is 7 million, around 7 millions. Population. This is statistics explained in ancient time, like example in the statistics of 1996, there are 1 million vacant apartments. You can see there was no problem. There are the real estate investor. It's a part of the problem itself. My research paper will apply the advice of the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad: don't build that we will don't populate it. So in this case, the housing for need only, not for investment. Number 5, the increase in real estate investment more than activities of the productivity. like industry or agriculture. More pumped funds by states or people in real estate complicate the housing problem because the people will snap up for building, thereby raising prices, and therefore prices of the materials like stone, like steel, cement, and therefore the ownership or rent prices will rise also. This trend will weaken in productivity sectors such as industry and agriculture, which would weaken the per capita income of the people and the local currency also, and then it will be difficult to get an apartment or rent. The research paper will make the housing for need only on condition of use and reduce the real estate investment less than productive activities investment. And the evidence exists in Egypt, like in Egypt last century. For example, the rental value the rental value was higher than the rental value in our current time, but there was interest in industry, so the people can pay this rent value easily. But now it's hard because the people invest much money in the real estate sector. Number 6, the role of state in housing is insurance. All countries all over the world have failed to secure accommodation due to financial inability. The proof of the financial weakness in Egypt, the sharp, as example in Egypt, the sharp decline in the volume of housing loans, which fell from about 2,100 million pound at 92 to some 550 million pound at 95 to 1996, and the inability of Egyptian government economy meet the needs of the building, where being government shares over the period from 1981 to 1984 have a limited to be constructed this number, as well as poor of weak customization system for the housing, which are not suitable for diverse culture of the people and disproportionate social statutes which with each other in one template. In addition, in the past, the state was responsible for establishment of enterprises and industries, where building houses was planned wherever the work is. But now, in the globalized world economic situation, this changed, and the intervention of the private sector rose. This created housing without inhabitants. This is a phenomenon. But in the working change the role of the state from insurance to empowerment policy. Number 7, intervention of the foreign investor. This is world friend. As example, the chairman of the director's board of agricultural Gulf company working in Egypt said when the media asked him, he said, we came as investor and not as a social institution, but solving the problem of the housing is the government responsibility. So their presence in the market increases snap up money to build houses, which increases the prices of the housing units and thus pushing the prices of real estate up. Eventually, they earn money from our country to their countries, and this is causes negative effects in the trading balance between our states and their countries. The evidence is that, like example, the Iraqi peoples during the last war, in October city, this is a city in Egypt, one of the new cities in Egypt, had done. They raised the value of the real estate before Iraqi people came to Egypt. The prices of the flat was about 50,000 pounds, but when they came, the prices of the flats reached 80,000. This is increase, and then they return back home. They stay in Egypt and earn money and come back their home. But the research paper will make the real estate in manufacture and manufacture locally, but it's only allowed for foreign to rent only. They can rent only, not build, not buy houses or real estate. Number 8, the concentration of the industrial and the commercial activities in certain places. The human always looks for places of livelihood, and if he finds it, he lives next to it, because the rule says where the work is there will be. Where the work is, there the home will be. There will be housing. And of course, this has created high population in industrial areas. As in most countries, the evidence of that is the proportional distribution of population in some governments in industrial cities, such as Cairo and Tokyo, and we will find that 47% of Egyptian population is concentrated in 5 provinces. The most important of them is Cairo, due to the presence of the industry and the business. The research paper will redistribute the population and unload crowded places. Number 9, bank intervention in the real estate activity in general. Banks are economic funds based on depositors' money, and those depositors take interest from the bank. The bank takes benefit from the borrower mortgage, further increasing the value of the property owner or rent. But the research paper or working paper will give good free loan without interest and with appreciate premium. Premiums. Number 9, state intervene in the lease relations, pricing rates, or nationalization. Many countries intervene in housing sector when any crisis happens. They intervene in the rental relation to lower prices or pricing even in the developed country. For example, Germany, there is maximum value of the renting in some districts as guide prices. In the UAE Emirat, the maximum rent increase of 7% annually. While also in Egypt, while the Egyptian government during the Second War had frozen the Egyptian rental value, was according to the legalization of such military orders in the law number 21 of year 1947. And after the revolution of 52, it has been reduced the rental value to value minimization by 3 times act in these acts. And nationalizes the three real estate companies. But the working paper will not don't price real estate rent or ownership. So this is the reason. This is the reason of the housing problem. It's like many countries in the world. So, but you will see you see the rule of my working paper, and will explain it in the next video, inshallah.